So now I'm going to go and add some florals to this table. So let's create a new layer above our table. I'm going to turn off everything within that table layer so we can focus on the florals. On this table there's 3 different centerpieces in 3 different sizes. So what I'm going to do is create one and duplicate them out. And I'm going to create a completely unique shape here because I don't have this vase in my brush sets. So what I'm going to do is just freehand draw this vase. So as we did with the plate, create an oval, hold your finger down on the screen here to make it snap into an oval shape. I'm going to duplicate it and move it down. With freeform selected, let's reduce the size and center it back on the top there. I'm going to duplicate it one more time and add another circle just around here. And then on another layer, you can see this has got a little bit of shape to it before it even hits this area here. So let's come and create a shape like this and hold your stylus on the screen so it snaps into a kind of round shape. Let's just move this shape down slightly. Okay, so I've got my basic outline here of this vase, so let's duplicate it and drop right into that shape. Add our clipping mask, and then with that watercolour brush, let's come in and add this vibrant gold into our vase here. And then I'm going to add a few different layers of colour just to build up the effect. And then we can go in and smudge these together. This is just a really quick way of showing you how you can create outlines yourself if they don't exist in my brush sets. Let's go and reduce the opacity of the outline layer. And I'm going to add a slight texture kind of mottled effect. So I'm going to come in with, let's use this kind of leather effect in the textures brush set. For a fairly large size and a lower opacity, and I'm on a separate layer here. Let's just add a few areas to just give it a little bit more texture. And I'm going to go place this on my table and resize it. It's going to sit below that first layer of plates. I'm going to create a new layer above our vase layer. And then using the heavy leaves brush from the basic brush set, what I'm going to do is just start building up some of these orange leaves around the base of the centerpiece. And then start adding some in to frame the main part of the centerpiece here. Just build up a few layers of these leaves. And then I'm going to start working on some of the flowers. So I'm going to create a new layer, go into the flower brush set, and I'm going to select one of the flowers. I'm going to select a lighter orange for the outline, and then adding a new layer below that layer, I'm going to use my watercolor brush and just come in behind and kind of fill in the color underneath the outline. And then just smudge those colors together. And make any changes you want to that outline. And then at this point I'm going to merge that down, duplicate it, and I'm going to start adding in some of these flowers into our centerpiece. And I'm going to change the size and distort some of them, just to give that variety and natural look. And then I'm going to add some more, a couple of pinky flowers. So for this one I'm going to select this carnation, and I'm going to select a colour from our reference image. And then what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to duplicate that outline. I'm going to move it slightly down and left, reduce the brightness of it, and I'm just going to add a little bit of blur, and I'm going to come into that top outline layer and just brighten it up slightly. That's another way to create these flowers. So now let's go and place some of these. Now I'm just going to come into, add a new layer above those original leaves that we created. I'm just going to start filling out the center of our centerpiece. So I'm going to select one of these darker colors, the heavy leaves brush, and then I'm just going to keep adding flowers until we get to a point where our centerpiece is looking like the reference image we have. So I'm going to duplicate that layer, move it down and left, I'm going to make it darker, and this time I'm going to select a darker peach colour from the centre of that flower. I'm going to hold 2 fingers down on that layer and colour fill. Then we can add our blur. And decide if we want to duplicate that top outline layer just to make that stand out more. And then, as we've done before, let's just go in and add some of these flowers to our centerpiece. As we start adding in, like filling out this kind of final centerpiece, you might come back to some flowers like these pink ones which just don't quite look right anymore. So feel free to come into those layers and just make some edits to those. And I'm going to come in and add one final flower. I'm going to create this one quite a light colour. I'm going to come in behind it to add that contrasting colour. And then add any details if you like. Merge those into one and duplicate them. And then again, just come in here, adding some of those flowers to different areas. And adjusting those layers if you want them to sit in front or behind other flowers. I still don't like these pink flowers, so let's go in and see if we can make some changes. So I'm just going in and adjusting the hue, saturation and brightness. And then I'm just going to come in and add a couple of eucalyptus leaves. So in that greenery brush set, there is a eucalyptus leaf, which is here. I'm on a new layer. I'm going to tap on the screen and then I'm going to come in and just adjust it so it sits nicely in that centerpiece. And then adjust these in front of and behind the different layers. And then finally I'm going to come in with that Heavy Leaves brush, and I'm just going to manually add in a few leaves that are going to sit in the very front of the flowers. Okay, so I'm happy with the centerpiece, and to manage these layers what I'm going to do is pinch all of them together, including the vase, just so I end up with a single layer here with our centerpiece. I'm going to duplicate it and see if I prefer the look of it with that second layer duplicated over the top, and I do. So then let's merge that down. If I want to make any changes to the entire centerpiece, I can come in and do that here. And then if we turn our table back on, what I can do now is duplicate that centerpiece, and I'm going to come in here and place it into our table group, and it's going to sit between the two layers of plates here, and I'm actually going to have it in front of our candles. And I'm going to duplicate that out twice and just place another couple of smaller centerpieces just either side of this table. One here, and then I'm going to flip the next one and just place it matching over on the left hand side. Okay, so there we have our table, our place settings and our centerpieces all laid out for this autumnal table.